this is what our news is. We call this our two myths once you're retired, because before retirement, you should have, we think, wrote it out, hang in there, you're in it for the long run, don't watch it, keep putting money in, and everything will probably work out over the long run, because it always has. The problem is, at retirement, you no longer have a long run. You're in the shorter run, you don't have time on your side, so we can't go by these myths. You should not hang in there and ride out the market, in our opinion, and the other myth is, if you do so, you'll get a 12% rate of return. Well, let's look at the stock market. This green graph is the S&P 500 index for the last 26 years, from 2000 through 12/31/2025. So it looks like it had a lot of volatility, but it had some big gains. Well, it started in January 3rd, 2000. The index was at 1469. A lot of volatility up and down, and then by the time we got to December 31st last year, the S&P 500 was at 6845. So that's a huge gain. 1,400 to 6,800, you think, yeah, that's the best place. That's a 12% rate of return. Well, if you hung in there and wrote it out, if you did that, you would have gotten a 6.09% increase per year before fees, before taxes, and before you took any income out. Is a 6.09% rate of return based on all this volatility before fees, taxes, and income worth what we went through? And the answer is no. Mathematically, it's not. Well, how did it work this way? Well, if you go back to 2000, you remember the technology bubble? Technology bubble and the market crashed. Most consumers and advisors will tell you the markets crash quick and they come back just as quick. Neither is correct. It took 3 years for the technology bubble to drain over 50% off the stock market. And it didn't happen all at once. It lost about 12% in 2000, lost about 15, 16% in 2001, lost about 25% in 2002. And you're like, how in the heck did my 401k go down by 50%? Because you hung in there and wrote it out like they said. At this point, you're down 50%. Your only choice is to hang in there, because you can't get out there because you're never going to make it back. So you hang in there and write it out, praying that it gets back to even, and it did. By 2007, we got back to even. And you were so happy, because once you lose it, you don't think about gains. All you think about is getting your money back, recovering. So you got back to even, and you were like just so happy, relieved, joyous that you finally recovered, which means you were happy that you made a 0% rate of return for 7 years, right? That's what the math is. And then they said, don't worry, this was an anomaly, it won't happen again. Does anybody out there watching right now remember the 2008 financial crisis? The market went down another 50%. And again, you hung in there, you wrote it out like you were told, and you needed another 100% gain just to get back up to even. So if the market starts in January 3rd, 2000 at 1469, January 3rd, 2013, 13 years down the road, is at 1462, how much did the index go up by during that 13-year time period? It went up by 0. And that's before fees. With fees, it means you had a negative rate of return per year. People say, well, you know what? I kind of think at some point during this happening, I remember that I thought the only gains I was getting in my account were based on the amount of money I was putting in. So my account only grew by my additional deposits. This proves that you were correct in that thought process.